minutes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea you were so popular.
I'm teaching, yeah.
Wow, people like you.
Okay. All right, so before we get started, I want to know why you guys are here and what you expect to learn. Because I know what is on my agenda. Yes, Jake, why don't you get us going?
Well, I was gonna say like what I was hoping to learn. So I actually, this class is like my idea. So I want agents to know, like one of my long-term goals is not to be, I have agent goals, but one of my professional goals is also to eventually become a productivity coach. So I think a lot of agents don't know that you can build a team and you can build that direction, and Keller Williams has systems for that. But also if you have professional goals within leadership, that there are systems and steps to take, for that, and what that outline looks like, depending on if you wanted to be an MCA or a team leader or what that is. So my goal is to find out the path for growth in that direction.
Yes, and I have a slide to address that.
Perfect. Yeah.
Anyone else, what they expect to learn today? Raise your hand. Darcy, I'm gonna pick on you because you just laughed. And you just put a nugget in your mouth.
Well, I am looking to learn how to create, what was it, that where's Hannah in here?
Oh, he's behind you in the cafe, yeah.
How to create the Darcy Quintana mega team.
Yes, yes. So building a team and possibly level 1, level 2, all the way up to 7 levels. Yes, we're gonna talk about that today too. One more person, what you expect to learn today? Anybody? One person. Yes, Kevin.
Keller Williams Way.
The Keller Williams way. Yeah. We could be here for like years and years, right? Okay. All right. Sarah, can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so we have an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes. So the career visioning process is called the leverage series, okay? So there's career visioning, there's 30, 60, 90, and then there's success through others. Each of these courses, like this is a course, this is a course, and this is a course, are taught through Keller Williams Realty International. You can attend them via Zoom these days, through the Learning Center. You can attend them in person. I think we've got one coming up in our region pretty soon. Just the whole leverage series in general.
Yeah, they've been breaking it up. So when I hear about them, because our regional sends us this information, we will probably keep an eye out because we will get it out to you somehow, either putting it on the calendar or sending you an email, but we'll make sure that you get it.
So when you see these courses, I want you to know what they're for, right? So the whole leverage series is called leverage series. There's career visioning, and this is how to find the right candidate. This is a 1 to 2 day course, and it's all day. And then there's 30, 60, 90, and it's how to set up your new hire to thrive. So does anyone know what a 30, 60, 90 is? What is the 30, 60, 90, Sarah?
It's your plan for your first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days.
That way, when you spend all this time finding the right candidate, you don't just say, okay, go and do the things. You have a strategic plan on how to get them to success, right? So you set the expectation high, and it's written, and there's dates, and you meet, and there's accountability and all the fun things. And again, that's, I think this is a 1 day course. And then there's success through others, which is a 2 day course, and it's how to pour into your team members to create opportunities so that they're not going to leave the organization. The idea is that you build such a big organization that people never leave. I started at this organization 13 years ago. I don't remember. It's been a long time. 13 years ago, yeah, since 2008. And I started answering the phones.
You were 15.
Yeah, I was like this tall. Yeah. I had just barely turned 21, so that'll give you an indication as to how old I am. But I've been in different positions within market centers. Market centers are another name for offices within the Keller Williams structure. So there's places to go and things to do, and we're going to talk about all that fun stuff.
I'm going to chime in, not that I meant to talk over it, but also if you don't intend on building a team, but you want to go through this process of the KPA, which is going to talk about 30, 60, 90, you can let me know and we can get that going for you. And I can help you or your coach if you're working with Hunter, whoever it is that your like contact point, we can get you somebody to get you on this stuff.
Okay, any questions on the courses? Again, this is like 6 days of education that I'm just kind of briefly covering in an hour and a half. Okay. Okay. So back to what Darcy was saying. This is the levels for a team. I'm sorry, the picture is of poor quality. I literally took it this morning out of what book? The MREA. So level 1, you have no leverage. It's just you. And Gene Rivers and Gary say that you should be doing between 18 to 24 transactions at level 1. And you don't really hire someone full-time until you get to 18 to 24 transactions. Now, why do I say a range?
Everybody's different.
Everyone's different, right? It doesn't mean that you get to 15 transactions and then you can hire someone. And also, when you're at level 1, you can have a transaction coordinator. You can hire bits of marketing. You can hire your kids to schlep your signs and do your pot buys and stuff, right? But when you get to level 2, that's when you hire a full-time administrative assistant. Why do you think you hire an admin instead of a buyer's agent?
You need help managing your flow. You don't need to add more flow to your life yet.
Right. You can handle all the business, because then when you start bringing on buyer's agents, you have to have leads for them to come in, right? And then level 2, level 3, what do you do at level 3? What does it say? You hire another admin. Why do you think you hire another admin instead of a buyer's agent? You still have enough business with 2 people to do all of the business yourself. And then you go on to level 4, you hire a buyer specialist, and you go on to level 5, you hire a seller specialist, level 6, an administrative manager to manage your 3 administrative positions, and then you have your seller and your buyer specialist. And then the 7th level, where you have all the people doing all the things. Jake?
At either level, 2, 3, either one of those, can admin double as a transaction coordinator?
Yes.
Okay.
Your admin is doing your TC. So
Okay,
yes, I'm
so
sorry, I
at that
didn't
point,
specify that.
TC is brought in full-time
Correct.
as well as another admin.
They're coordinating your listings, they're scheduling your buyer appointments, like through CSS or Showing Time or whatever it's called these days.
Second operations.
Yeah, so they're doing all the administrative things, including TC.
Okay.
But at level 1, you can have a TC that you're just paying per file instead of having a full-time admin. Does that make sense? Yeah, leverage plus. All right, any questions on the 7 levels? Darcy, any questions on this? Okay.
I'm gonna ask the question because this gets asked often, maybe you guys just aren't thinking about it. Can the admin be a licensed agent that serves as a showing assistant?
They can, but their sole purpose is to help you. And if they're licensed, that's great. They can actually help write some of your offers and do a little bit of the negotiating, but it's not absolutely necessary. Now, this person right here is so good that they move through the whole levels with you. So they may not be licensed right now, or they may be licensed. But again, when you hire someone, you hire like a life partner, if you will. So they can be licensed, but they don't have to be. And that could be part of the opportunity that you provide for them. Hey, I'm going to help you, get your real estate license. I'm going to pay for those courses. So they can be, but they don't have to be. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Next slide, please.
Sorry,
Okay, so Jake, this slide is kind of for you. So it talks about leadership opportunities. So you're an individual agent. You can build a whole profit share business. Does anyone know what 100% agent is, Sarah?
I actually have never heard that term. What you
So
mean?
100% agent is someone who makes more money in profit share than they pay the market center in company dollar, royalty, and office bills. There's lots of agents who are just agents that sell homes, and they also have this whole profit share tree going wild. Donna Lebo is 100% agent. She makes more money in profit share than she pays the market center over the course of the year in profit share, not just once, every year.
Sort of passive income based on that.
Correct. Then there's a mega agent team, which was the previous slide, okay? Then you can choose to be on the Associate Leadership Council. What is that, Jake?
We are a group of agents that each one of us oversees a certain council, but we represent your voice within the decision-making process for this market center to represent you guys.
Board of Directors. And then from any of these positions, you can move to being a mortgage company investor, a title company investor, a market center investor, Market center investment opportunities don't come actually ever, because market center investors created the market center, now the market center's here. We don't sell shares all the time, right? Because that would be weird. However, what if we created our own mortgage company? You could have investment opportunities there. What if we created our own title company? You could have investment opportunities in there. There's mega agent expansion teams. So let's say you have such a great system and a hub. A hub is like where you do the business. But you have a vacation home in Arizona. You can have an agent out there doing business for you, and you can have an expansion team out there. Does everyone get kind of the concept of expansion? So you do business in multiple states, multiple places.
So like franchising your business out.
Correct. You franchise your business out. Then you could possibly be a market center productivity coach, coaching new agents, coaching experienced agents. Then you could possibly be a market center team leader. Those people are slightly crazy. Then you could possibly have investments with KW Worldwide. You can be an investor in new market centers. So maybe not this market center, but there may be an emerging market in a place in the country where we don't have a market center. So you can still be an agent in this market and have opportunities for investing in other market centers. And then there's growth share. Does anyone know what growth share is? It's like profit share, but growth share is when you create profit share in another country. Okay, so like let's say you go to, what's a cool place that you want to go to? Not in the States. Costa Rica, Jamaica, the Bahamas. There's not already a market center out there. You can build your downline in that area right after vacation and have participation in growth share. So growth share is profit share outside of the United States. Does that make sense?
Kirk Iverson's doing that right now.
Yes. Where is he creating growth share?
In Mexico.
Yeah. So that way, when he goes once a month, it is a business write-off. Then there's Keller Williams University, which we call KWU. You can be a master faculty, which means that you teach courses to all Keller Williams agents virtually, in person, and you get paid to do that. So that could be fun. Then you could be approved faculty and market center faculty. So you can teach in this market center, you can teach in market centers within our region, okay? Then you can be an operating partner. What's an operating partner? Bill Webb. So Bill Webb is the voice of the owners, if you will. Sorry, I can never keep a straight
Bill
face.
Webb is not a typical OC.
Yeah. So an operating partner is kind of like the voice of the owners. They own more than 20% of the shares within the company. And because I don't want to be accountable to like 20 people, because that's about how many investors we have. So they have one person called the operating partner who kind of is the voice of the owners. Does that make sense? Okay, big responsibility. They can be active operating partners. They can be playing on the golf all the time. I've had some OPs who they want to see the financials before I transmit and close the books. And then I have some who I'm like, hey, do you care what I'm doing this month? Like, anyway.
Bill's the kind of OP that has every dime like memorized.
Yeah.
So he knows every percentage, every dollar that's spent here. He doesn't even have to look at the sheet. He knows it all.
But being an OP could create opportunities for you to open up a new market center and have investment opportunities in that way. Okay. And then you could be a MAPS coach. What's a MAPS coach? Anybody? A MAPS coach is someone who coaches agents from anywhere within the market center. MAPS is a division of Keller Williams that's just for coaching. And actually, it's not just for coaching real estate people. MAPS is coaching, you know, other Fortune 500 companies as well. So is anyone in MAPS coaching mastery? Sarah, how much does it cost to have a MAPS coach?
$1,000 a month.
$1,000 a month.
And you get 30 minutes once a week.
30 minutes once a week, and sometimes it's only 3 times a month because of some, you know.
No, there's two options for agents, right? There's group.
There is group coaching, yes, as well.
So it's less expensive.
Yes.
Threshold is lower for how much
Yes. But part of paying your MAPS coach means you get admission to family reunion, mega camp, spring masterminds, fall masterminds. So it's not just paying for someone, you get access to all the Keller Williams programs as well. And part of MAPS coaching, there's leadership training where you can just coach team leaders, OPs, and MCAs. You can coach agents, that's mastery coaching. There's transformational coaching, which is coaching for leaders that are kind of been through all of it. I'll just leave that alone. And then there's BOLD coaches. How many of you have taken BOLD or even know what BOLD is? Yeah. BOLD is a mindset training course. It's like 7 or 8 weeks. I don't quite remember. And you can be a BOLD coach. BOLD coaches make about, well, they make about $30,000 per BOLD session. And they're normally running 3 to 4 per quarter. And they travel. Well, they used to. And that's also why I said they used to make $30,000 or $40,000 per BOLD. Okay. And then you can be a one thing coach as well. And then there's a regional director. What does a regional director do?
Regional director oversees the entire region. So we're in the, North
Texas, New Mexico, Memphis
region. And so Tommy Flood is our regional director. And so all offices that are within that region, he is then responsible for it. So in the hierarchy, Tommy Flood being regional director, Bill being OP, and then I answer to Bill, and yeah, and it just goes like that.
So in addition to being all of these things, you can be a regional director. Regional directors make their money off of your franchise fees. So you pay 6% to a $3,000 cap to the region, and that's how the region gets paid. So a lot of our agents, they follow this path, and mega agent, they become like an instructor, an operating partner, and then they move to being a regional director. And then from there, honestly, they move into KWRI leadership. So becoming the COO, the CFO, all of the C-level positions at KWRI. And then from being an operating partner, you can, again, create your own mortgage company. So you're just an investor here, but as an OP, you run these things. You run property management, title company, mortgage, market center expansion. So think about this for just a minute. What if we created opportunities for you as agents to invest in these things? Shaking your head? Why are you shaking your head?
Because that would be amazing.
That would be amazing, right? Multiple streams of income. Yeah. Just so you know, we're working on something. So stay tuned for that.
Maybe
All right.
attend the finance meeting.
Yeah.
There's a blank check.
Yeah. All right. Next slide.
I'm curious, Dave, who knew that there were so many paths for growth within KW? No? Okay. Lots and lots of opportunities.
Lots of things to do.
Oh, wait. And you don't have to necessarily follow those arrows.
No.
So like a couple of them, like they have arrow paths, but I think from like productivity coach, it doesn't directly go to KWRI or KWU, but like that's certainly a path that could be made.
Correct. And you can also be a productivity coach and have leadership positions in other market centers as well. Okay.
You guys know you have a team leader that's not licensed? So I didn't follow the path at all. So you can make your own path.
So speaking more about the leadership path, this is a really, really old graphic. And in fact, I'm going to have to rename some of these. So anytime you see RSTLM, recruit, select, train, lead, motivate, that is now called the leverage series. Okay. So if you see RSTLM and PQRS, that's leverage. Okay. We have lots of acronyms here, Keller Williams. Okay, so just because this is the path, just because you take these courses does not mean you're going to be an Insta OP or an Insta MCA or an Insta team leader or an Insta productivity coach. It's just opening your mind to, I'm just going to say what's in the hot dog, right? Have you heard that expression? Sometimes people don't want to know what goes in the hot dog. You just want to eat it. And that's the thing. But sometimes you have to know what's in the hot dog. Okay. And so that's kind of what these courses do. They show you how everything works. FSO stands for Franchise Systems Orientation. Who has ever heard of FSO or taken FSO? Veronica, have you taken FSO? FSO is, I think it's like a 2.5-day course used to.
They framed it in.
Yeah, it's not.
You had to go to Austin.
Yes.
That's what I'm waiting for.
That's the best experience. I took a digital FSO and it was kind of, wasn't that great. But part of taking FSO, this is how you open a market center. This is how the books work. This is how you hire people. This is how a CAP works. This is how everything works. Okay, so it's literally Keller Williams, how to do it. Keller Williams Kool-Aid. Also, the cool part about taking it in Austin is you get to take a tour of Keller Williams Realty International and a tour of Market Center #1. The #1 markets, not the #1 market center. Well, actually, I think they are, but the first market center. They have about 850 agents and they close about 1,000 transactions a month. So they're a huge, huge, huge office, but it's really cool to go and see kind of where it all started and from where they were to where they are now. So it's just really cool. If you have the opportunity to take FSO, I would do it in a heartbeat. It's one of my favorite courses.
It's really cool, guys, that it's like so open. There's nothing hidden here. FSO is literally like, they tell you everything of how it all works. And so it's pretty fascinating.
All right, so looking at the operating principle path, you take the leverage series, you take OP Bootcamp, that's such a cute name. Recruiting great agents, really this is also a team leader course. And then you take Grow Through Value, making your market center irresistible. You take Market Center Financials, which sounds like a snoozer, but it's a really great course. A lot of it depends on the instructor. You take the ALC clinic. The ALC clinic is actually 2 days. A lot of agents only think that it's 1 day, but leadership goes the day before. We learn all the things. And then potential ALC comes the next day. Train the presenter. What's train the presenter? Veronica,
I think that twice.
what is it?
So you're being trained to present, not just yourself, but a topic or materials or something that you want to teach or show people to do.
So it's training you how to be a presenter. Yeah. And then there's Train the Trainer Advanced Workshop. That one's really intense. That one's 2 days. That's where you actually have a class of about this many people and you each give a presentation at the end. It will make you like throw up, but it's a great course.
And they do, well, they don't do.
They grade you. Yeah, they give you constructive criticism. It's a great course. So even if you don't want to do any leadership in Keller Williams, if you just wanted to up your game when it comes to presenting to your buyers, presenting to your clients, presenting to your spouse why you need this new car, Train the Presenter would be a good course for you.
It's actually a good point that you make. I can't even tell you how much training I've taken like from these courses and like Kellerized my husband.
Yeah.
Like we did a 30-60-90,
Yeah.
we did a 1-3-5, and his business increased as a result of it. So it does. I'm gonna do it with my 13-year-old next.
And then there's the team leader path. There's, again, some of these are duplicates. Recruiting great agents. So it's mastering the team leader 20%, Grow Through Value, making your market center irresistible, ALC clinic, market center financials, leverage series, train the presenter, and train the trainer advanced workshop. And then there are these special unicorn people all in of themselves. They're called MCAs, market center administrators, right? You take an MCA skills course, you take Success in the Office, which is how to be a good MCA. Market Center Financials, obviously, you have to learn how that works. Grow Through Value, ALC Clinic, Drive, that doesn't exist anymore. So put an X through that. Leverage series and train the presenter. Okay, so what position is not on here that a lot of you are interested in? Someone? Yes, thank you, Sarah. Productivity coach. So they don't really have a PC path specifically, but it's kind of like a marriage of all three of these. And you can tell basically all of the courses are the same, right? They're just in a different order. So what do you think a good PC does? They take training and they take a lot of training. So again, you're going to take some of these courses, be a leader in the market center, teaching in the market center. But again, just because this is the prescription on how to do it, doesn't mean that you're going to do it or be a PC. I guess what I want to say is,
I know what you're trying to
okay, what you want to,
all of this training, even if you don't want to go down the path of being a team leader, an OP, or a productivity coach, it's all gonna benefit your business. No matter what path you're on. Train the presenter is public speaking.
Why
So
do
you do train the presenter, you're gonna be more comfortable presenting, a listing or buyer's, presentation. So it all ties in.
All of the training that I take offers practical solutions, to not just my job, but to like my kids. Have you ever used any Keller Williams stuff on your kids, Chris?
Yes.
Any principles on, you have, how many kids do you have?
Well, I have 7 grown ones and then 1 8-year-old.
Yes. So I actually married a Keller Williams director of agent services, so I can't use like the ninja things on my spouse because they know, right? Stop trying to Keller Williams me. Okay, any questions on the leadership path and the courses? And again,
More than once.
say it again.
The course you take, you should take it more than once.
Yep, I've taken FSO 3 times, career visioning 3 times, recruiting great agents once, Market Center Financials 8 times, ALC Clinic 8 times, train the presenter 3. And then the rest is, again, it's all in there. Because you're never done, right? You're never done. Okay, moving from E to P. So what if you had this course or this prescription on how to hire people? What if that was like a thing? So what does E mean? So the biggest thing I realized about E is you think some people are really being purposeful when they just have a really high skill set, right? So someone's natural ceiling of achievement may be higher than someone else's. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're being purposeful. Did everyone get what I'm saying there? Okay. In order to go from E to P, you have to have focus, models, systems, and breakthroughs. Keller Williams provides all of these things, okay? When you go through your career here, you're gonna like hit ceilings of achievement, then you're gonna get frustrated, and then you're gonna like do the binge things that you do, and then you're gonna get motivated again, and then finally you figure out what the step is to break through. There's different levels and different levels of productivity. Everyone get the E to P concept? Yes, okay. Sarah, next slide. These are the 3 L's. What are the 3 L's? Susan, you want to read that?
Leads, listings, leverage.
Right. So if it's not listings, leads, and leverage, you shouldn't be doing it. Everyone get that? Okay. Listings, leads, and leverage. This is what Gary says in the MREA. Leverage comes in the form of people, systems, and tools. Okay. So we're going to discuss the leverage piece here in a minute. Next slide. Okay. How many of you have ever hired someone and then had to fire someone? Yeah. How much time does it take to hire someone? How much does it cost when you have a bad hire? There's actually a calculator for going through this. So take their annual salary plus your hourly wage. So just take your GCI, let's say it's $100,000. How many hours are in a year? 2,000, right? So $100,000 divided by 2,000 comes out to what? Anybody? Let's just say it's 50, okay? How many hours did it take to hire that person? Just so you know, it is about 40 hours. So there's that money. When you hire the wrong person, let's say you're down a person, right? How many times do you go through your organization and then they quit and then you're without someone? Darcy, you know what I'm saying? God bless Darcy. She has filled in at the front desk when we needed help because someone quit. So there's that cost. Then there's the cost of the time to train them. It's exhausting. So you have to take time away from what you're doing in order to train them, right? And then they screwed up, they messed up, and you lost a lead, you lost a client, or we've lost an agent because of this employee's lack of everything, basically. And then it has an overall negative impact on client solutions. It just tastes bad. You know, when you go to a restaurant and someone's having a bad day, whether it's someone in the kitchen or the wait staff, or you go anywhere, you go shopping and you walk up to this person and you ask for help and then it doesn't work, right? Think about how many times someone has lost your business. Okay. So there's the lifelong time of that person no longer doing business with you. So if you add it up, it's nauseating. It'll make you want to throw up. When I have a bad hire, it costs the market center about $85,000 for someone in the front desk position. $85,000. So I want you to think about that and think about the pain that just conjures up in your body when you go through the hiring process and you follow the model. Raise your right hand right now. Lindsay, I promise to follow the model and not follow my emotions. And I will always follow the model. Thanks, guys. We're about to get into that. I'm making you feel the pain. Feel the pain. Okay. Next slide. Also kind of digging into the pain a bit. We're used to work life at the extremes, right? We're either working 60, 80 hours a week, or we're being like parents of the year, always coming to our kids' sporting events, always being sympathetic to our spouses and not pooping in the kitchen. Pooping in the kitchen, by the way, is when you come home and you like put your purse and stuff down and you just poop. You just go over all the things that happened at work and you're not being really sensitive to your spouse's needs. So you just dump, basically. That's called pooping in the kitchen. You're welcome. So that's actually a Keller Williams thing, believe it or not. I think it's Ben Kenny and Bill loves that term, pooping in the kitchen. Okay. So why do we love life in extremes?
You feel like you're successful, like you're succeeding
Right.
at one or the other.
But think about how much energy it takes to get back to the center. So what if you were just ping ponging like boom, 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 boom? Well, it requires less energy, right? Because you're not living in extremes, you're staying close to the models. And when you have people in your life that can keep you close to the middle, you're just a better person, you're a nicer person, you're just a better person, right? So
I have an example of this.
yes, I was just about to say
Yeah.
work-life balance.
Lindsay was out for like ever.
5 months. I was out for 5 months.
Yeah, so she was out for 5 months and she and I have a really good relationship where we balance each other out in a really awesome way. And so when she was out, like I didn't realize how far I was having to go from one extreme to the other because team leaders are not meant to be MCAs. Like she manages this office, I get to be the cheerleader, like it just works. But when she came back, all of a sudden I realized just how much of a swing I was doing from side to side, which really kept me out of what Bill and I always call my 20, where my focus should be. 20% of your efforts results in 80%. Exactly. And so I was staying out of my 20. But that's my example of it.
So think about the work-life balance. Okay, you've got your health, you've got your spiritual life, you've got your finances, you have family, you have all of the things, right? All of the balls, if you will, are made of rubber, except for the family one. The family one is made of glass. What happens if you drop your health? You can work on it and get it back. What happens if you drop like your hobbies? It'll bounce back. It's okay. What happens if you drop the family ball? You don't always get that back. And so I wanted to read you this excerpt from The One Thing, in case you haven't read it, that I thought was really interesting. Okay. My wife once told me the story of a friend of hers. The friend's mother was a school teacher and her father was a farmer. They scrimped and saved and did less for their entire lives in anticipation of retirement and travel. The woman fondly remembered the regular shopping trips she and her mother would take to the local fabric store where they would pick out fabric and patterns. The mother explained that when she retired, these would be her travel clothes. Can you guess where we're going? She never got to her retirement years. In the final year, she developed cancer and died. Now, that's kind of extreme. Sorry. I'm trying to really hone in, like why it's important to do the things now. They call it a counterbalance. Why is it a counterbalance instead of a balance? You're never going to be in balance. Yeah. And so it's a counterbalance. So if there's a period in my life where I'm working a lot, I know that there's a period in my life where I'm going to be traveling and playing a lot. There's a period in my life where I'm building things at work. I know that there's going to be a time when I'm vacationing and having time with my family. Having the career visioning process will help you stay in counterbalance and at equilibrium. Okay, next slide. And then again, this is just to hone in again why it's important to hire the right person and the right thing. When you're trying to do everything and be everything to all people, your one thing gets about this much of your attention. When you have the right people doing everything else, you get to spend more time in your one thing. What's the focusing question of the one thing? What's the one thing that I can do such that doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? Who is the one person I can hire that will make my whole life easier or unnecessary? The rest of the things unnecessary. Next slide. And then again, everything doesn't really matter equally. If you go and walk the dog or go do the laundry or pick up your dry cleaning, does that have the same impact on your life as taking the same amount of time and doing your lead gen and securing 3 appointments? No, not all time and tasks matter equally. We get that? Yes. Next slide. Okay, so we're going to go through the career visioning process, and this slide is going to be the rest of our meeting. So I know it's just a couple of words, but it is a lot. Every candidate that I career vision and that I end up hiring, I have a packet of papers about this thick. Okay, no exaggeration. Sometimes it's bigger if I have more references or they have more career history, or it kind of depends on the position. Okay. This is the career visioning process. Remember, there's 3 courses in the Leverage series. This is just career visioning. Okay. First thing is the job fit verification. Resume review. I don't call anyone ever unless I have a copy of their resume. When you look at their resume, what's the story it's telling? So I call them. I don't ever meet with someone without having a phone interview first. And I go through, I think I have to say like 60 resumes to find one that I like. Just so you know, that is how high you need to turn up the lead flow in order to get the quality of candidacy you need. 60 resumes, I'm going to call one. I'm actually going to call 5, and then 1 is going to rise to the top. So that's a lot, right? The resume review script looks like this. You start at the bottom, their least recent transaction, right? And you say, what did you like about working at Dillard's? What did you like least? And what did you learn? Okay. Like, least, learn. 3 L's, right? And then you go through each career phase, okay? And when you're talking to someone, you can kind of get remember, you can't see them. You do this on the phone, okay? So you can't like fall in love with, you know, the way they're dressed or how prompt they were. You're trying to keep emotion out of this, okay? So that's the resume review. And again, you go through 60, you call about 5, and then you continue the process with 1. Then you review their DISC. What's a DISC? Personality assessment. If you have never taken a DISC, you need to let me know, because we have a resource where you can take the DISC for free. Okay. The DISC tells me, are they a people person? Are they compliant? Are they super bossy? Do they follow the rules? You can get a sense of someone's DISC. And then there's the KPA. What's the KPA? Keller Personality Assessment. This used to be called an AVA. We used to have a company that we paid $500 for 1 AVA, if you will. Keller Williams believes in the importance of hiring people and building our organization. So we brought the the AVA process in-house. We have a whole department dedicated to the KPA. And the KPA, again, when you take it, who's taking a KPA? A lot of you. How did you feel when you were taking it?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Discombobulated. I'm like, they're revealing my deepest, darkest secrets.
Like some of the questions were unfair. It's like, would you rather save a child in a burning house?
Yeah.
Or would you rather save 5 puppies that are stuck in a car? It's like,
I didn't say it was fair, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of reveals your personality and how you think. Okay. It's not an intelligence test. It doesn't tell you how smart someone is. It just tells you how they arrive at decisions. And who's seen their results? How accurate are they? It's freaky. Yep. Thank you, Martha. That's the word I was going to use. It's freaky.
Yes, yes.
So,
I cried during my validation, like literally like.
oh yeah, I have a rule. If I don't make you cry, I didn't do my job when I was validating it. Yeah. If I didn't, because that's what you get to their why, right? If I'm not uncovering their big why and they're not emotional about it, I didn't do my job.
Oh my gosh, can you do mine?
Are you sure you want that?
Let me learn from that. I would love to learn
Yes. Yeah, it also is a huge journey along the path of self-discovery, because you learn who you are. And sometimes when you read the things, you may be like, wow, that makes me sound this way. But again, there's no wrong or right KPA. It's just these personalities are better suited to be team leaders, mega agents, listing agents, buying agents, solo agents. So when you take the KPA, not only is there like a 50-page report, there's also what we call the job fit. Emily, shake your head. You know what the job fit is, and that's what you want to see, because that is what tells you the roles that they're suited for. Just because someone is a 0.9, by the way, a 1 is a 100% match. So a 0.9 is a 90% match. Just because they're a 0.9 for the role that you're looking for doesn't mean that they're the right person. And just because they're a 0.4 doesn't mean that they're the wrong person.
What was I for team leader?
I don't remember.
I think I was like 0.7 or 0.8.
I think that's what I was going to say.
So it's not it's not a complete determining factor to it as well. It's just to kind of help you understand how a person works.
Me personally, when I'm hiring someone for me or my organization or for someone else, I like to see that they're a 0.6 or better for the role. Okay. And what's also interesting is Keller Williams has all this data, right? Because everyone's taking a KPA. So what happens is who a great MCA is today, they may not be a 0.9. If they're a 0.9 today, they may not be a 0.9 in a year, because the roles and the matches morph. Are we in a changing economy, in a changing world? Absolutely. So when you pull someone's job fit report that tells you what matches they are, whatever it says today doesn't always mean that's going to be the same in 90 days or a year, because they're taking the data and analyzing it.
And that's part of our KPA.
That's part, say it.
Is it part of the KPA?
Yes, when you take the KPA, it spits out these results, okay?
And Emily just said it's more like a guide, and then you discover going through the KPA.
Yeah, so the KPA report goes through all of these things with the scripts, by the way. Who just had their, Sheila?
So should you do the KPA again, like a couple of years later?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Who I am today is a different person than who I was 2 years ago. And also when you take the KPA, are you a different person at home than you are with clients, or even as a parent or as a spouse? So I always tell people, when you take the KPA, I need you to take it as Darcy, the real estate agent, not Darcy, the hospital administrator, or Darcy, the mom. She's tough. Darcy, the real estate agent, who you are in business. Does that make sense? Because it greatly skews the results. Kevin, do you want to add to that? Kevin took a KPA and the results came in, and just because I know Kevin and I have a rapport with him, I instantly knew that those results weren't right. I didn't even have to validate it, because I've done this process a lot. So when you take it in the mind of whoever you are when you're interviewing for that position. Very
Did you take it as
important.
military Kevin instead of real estate Kevin?
Depends on how I read the question or how I interpret with
Yeah.
language, because I have different meanings behind which word based on which,
Can't overanalyze.
where I've worked before.
Also, you can't overanalyze, because it's not timed, but it is timed. So it's a lot of it is your knee-jerk reaction to saving the 5 puppies or saving your mother, right? Right. Then you validate. Then you validate the KPA. What do you think that means?
So I actually didn't get that portion. I like to just my results, and it's a total different thing.
Yeah.
But
So validating the
it's like an
KPA,
interview almost. If they
yes.
guide you through it and ask
we read you the results and see if you agree with them or not. So it's a series of paragraphs about your personality in certain categories: assertiveness, structure, organization, how you handle like mechanical visualization things, how you do certain things. There's like 8 different categories. So you validate the KPA to make sure that the results are accurate. Because what if they were taking it and they answered it in this certain perspective instead of realtor perspective? That's why you validate a KPA. Okay, very important. The validation process takes about 2 hours.
Is it very often that you validate and it's not correct or not accurate or not?
Sometimes, yes. And sometimes there's 8 different vectors, if you will, 8 different categories. And so I'm going to draw something really quick. So like, let's say this is assertiveness, right? Candidates in this range, so like 3 to 6, this is what it is for an MCA. Usually when they answer 1 or 2 questions wrong, it puts them in here, and that significantly affects the score. So that's why you validate, to make sure that that's a correct plot, if you will. Okay. So each role has different categories. And this is what we used to call, forgot the name because it was part of Recruit, Select, Train, Lead, Motivate. We don't do that anymore. But each of these people have categories like within this range for team leaders, and MCAs are in these roles. A productivity coach has scores in these ranges within the role. Make sense? So it's important to validate it. Now, this is 6 words, right? 6 words, and it's about a 40-hour thing. Okay. Finding the right candidate is time consuming. Creating the right description on the sites that you're advertising or conversing. Then you got to go through the resumes, then you got to look at their disc, and then you have to look at their KPA, and then you have to validate it. I don't send a KPA to a candidate until I've looked at their resume and did the resume validation part. I do make them take a disc right away, because I don't want someone with a super high D, like they're super bossy, working at the front desk, right? I need them to be able to follow. I need them to be able to follow the rules that I give them, to follow the procedures. Do I want the D for a team leader to be really high? Yes, because they're leading the office and I want them to have a dominating presence. People. As an MCA on a scale of 0 to 100, I'm an 8 when it comes to people. Sarah's like 100. You don't want your MCA talking to all the people and not doing the things that need to be done, right? That doesn't mean that I can't talk to people.
It depends on what time of day.
No, it's an 8. Yeah, at all times. Yeah.
So she doesn't really like talking to you.
Well, sometimes I'll be like, hey, how was your weekend? Okay, awesome. And then I'll just leave. Like, I'm done. I got to go do my thing. I won't even say bye. That doesn't mean.
And just lay on the ground.
Yeah, I'm like, I just had to deal with a lot of people. I just need to lay here for 1 second, okay? And then I'm done, and then I can go be around people again.
When you ask a question and it's a yes or no answer, and they answer well, I'm like, okay.
That's what happens internally.
Yes or no? Just that's
Right.
all I just do yes.
Right. All right, so 40 hours, first tick box, okay? Second tick box, thought process. Once I validated their KPA, made sure they're not a serial killer, looked at their disc, make sure that they're a good fit for the role, done their resume review, I go through thought process, and it's general interview questions, okay? I say general interview questions because I only know Keller Williams, but some of the example questions are, who are 3 people you admire and why? Tell me about a boss who was a great boss and why? Tell me about a boss who was awful. Why were they awful? Tell me about something in your life that you learned from. Tell me about your biggest mistake. General interview questions, right? And they're all listed in the KPA report, so you can ask them specifically. Why does that matter? Right. You want to know how they think. I want to know how they speak, how they form sentences. My favorite part is when I ask them a question and they pause. I just love it when people pause, because I know that they're thinking. And I also know that they're listening to me and not thinking about what they're going to say. Now, how long they pause, that's an indication, right? How they form their sentences. Are they making eye contact with me? The thought process is in person. Are they fidgeting? Are they turning red? All of these things you're looking at when you're interviewing them.
You forgot one aspect of this though.
Yeah.
State a fact that will scare them to death. So she did the thought process like questions with me when I was interviewing. And so she
So
asked the
no,
questions.
Bill kind of brought me in here, but it wasn't a group. It was a one-on-one.
Yeah, and so it was this thought process question. And then what'd you say to me? Like during the whole thought process?
This
You were
is
asking the questions. and
this is
then-
the hardest thing you're ever going to do.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna cry. I want to quit. And like, so, but like, she kind of combined that into the thought process.
Yeah, as a team leader, that is the hardest job that you're ever going to do. I've worked with 30, 50 team leaders, not just in this market center, but in other market centers. I used to have a consulting business where I train MCAs and I assist in the hiring process. Okay, that's why I teach this course. But yeah, I don't find, I get straight to the point, right? That's just what I do. I'm not a very high people-y person. I don't wrap it in fluffy bunnies and sprinkle and whipped cream. I just jump right at it, okay? Because I have a lot of things to do and so do you. So the thought process, you listen more than you speak and you observe. Sometimes I'm not really listening to what they're saying. I'm watching if they're shifting in their seat. Are they checking their time? What are they doing? All of it. They're breathing. Are they lying to me? Are they looking left? Are they looking right? I'm like a serial investigator. Okay. Then once you get through the thought process, you go on to the life story.
What's known as the cry moment.
Yeah. So the life story is called the professional biography. Okay, so what you say when you get into the life story, this is usually a separate interview from this because you've kind of worn them out. And then you do the life story on a separate day because as an interviewer, it requires a lot of sharpness as well. And I give a lot when I'm asking all these questions. So then you do the life story. So the life story is a professional biography and you don't write it down. You get giant Post-it notes that are like 2 by 2 and you put them on the wall, okay? And you start with event 1. Event 1 is usually the last of their professional education, high school, college, real estate school, whatever, master's, whatever it was. So it's event 1. What was the event? When did it occur? What were the highs? What were the lows? What was the most fabulous thing about it? What were the lows? What was the bad part? What did you learn? And how much were you making in that time period? Okay. They get to pick the chapters. The way I describe this is, okay, we're going to write your book, Martha. We're going to write your professional biography. Okay. So we're going to start with when you graduated, wherever you graduated. So tell me where you graduated. When did you graduate?
2019.
What did you absolutely love about OU?
People that I met and the games, the football games.
What were the lows about that time period in your life?
Depression. I went through engineering, so.
See how you can just get, like, you just let people talk and you listen. What else? What were the lows?
Coursework, it's hard.
Yeah. What was your degree in? What were you
Computer
pursuing?
engineering.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hated it. Just was in it for the money, so.
What did you learn?
That I hated computer engineering.
And how much were you making at this point in your life?
Nothing as a student.
Right. Then the next chapter in your life opens. What was that event?
GM Financial, moved to Dallas.
What were the highs in that time period?
Making way more money than I thought I could make.
What else?
Made some new friends, realized that I did have imposter syndrome and I could do a lot more than I thought I could.
What else?
Good.
What else were the highs?
Sioux City. Dallas was a lot more than, it had a lot more than OKC, so it was a step up.
Notice the key phrase, what else? When they take longer than about 20 seconds to come up with something, then I know I'm done on that, okay? What else? What else? What else? And then we move on to what you learned and how much you're making. And then you go on and you go on. What shows up in the life story? What do you think would show up? Huh? Patterns. Yes, Charlotte. So at the very end of the life story, what I do is I circle the patterns. I circle the words that keep showing up. Family. These are what they always are. Leadership, opportunities, growth, money, investments. So remember, if it's a younger person, let's say younger, I'm not in this category anymore, under 30, they're going to have about 4. When they get to be over 30, they're going to have about 5 or 6 chapters, if you will. And sometimes you have to put things in the chapter for them, okay? Especially if they're in high S and a high C, they want to give you every detail. But you know what their disc is when you come into this perspective. And so I put more parameters for those people so they don't take like 22 Post-it notes, right? What else do you notice about the life story? Yes. You're helping them. They don't even know what a why is. If you don't work at Keller Williams, people are like, oh, why? What are you talking about? You can help. You get the information and you can kind of figure out their why, because that's what comes next. What also are you picking up here in the life story? Yes, what their core values are. How driven they are. I get a sense of their integrity, how quick they move on, how low were the lows, and did they learn? And you also pick up on things that aren't on the resume. Do you pick up that they had kids or had a divorce or had a new relationship or these other life experiences that significantly impact a person? Is that on their resume? No, this is the ninja way of figuring out those things, because who we are at home, does that impact who we are in the workplace? Absolutely. Legally, can I ask about that? But this, they tell me. Okay, you get it? Thank you, Martha, for jumping in. Not planned. Great job. Then you move on to the motivational interview. This is one of my favorite parts. So you take a Post-it note or a dry erase board and you put it in a box. Okay, like this.
You have to describe what the box looks like for the Zoom people.
Yep. So it's a box with 4 quadrants. And the top left is job, and the top right is money. And the bottom left says priority 1 and priority 2. So I'll explain the other priorities once I go through the first box. Okay, Susan. All right. So let's say we get together on this opportunity, to be the team leader. So we're meeting 5 years from now and everything is amazing. You've hit all your goals. We've done all the things. We've had a great run, but it's only been 5 years. Tell me what your job looks like. Describe it. And so they say, well, I'm working this many hours a week. This is what my team looks like. This is how much money I'm making. And you're getting them to cast a vision, cast their dream for the job box, right? Then you do the same with money. Sarah, in 5 years, you've been the team leader for 5 years. Hopefully you still have your hair and you look as fabulous as you do. Being a team leader stuff. How much money is coming into your household? Notice I said not how much money are you making at your job. I said how much money is coming into your household. How much money is coming to your household?
In 5 years?
Yeah, in 5 years. Annually.
Okay, I have a funny one and I'll be serious. $450,000.
Okay. And then you ask them to break it down. How much is your 9 to 5 bringing you? How much is your profit share bringing you? Because she's a team leader, she's going to have profit share. How much is your spouse contributing to this? If you know that they have, usually you know that they have a spouse when you've gotten to this point. I know that we talked about what your dreams are, to have a nonprofit. How much money is going to your nonprofit? How much money are you making in all those rental properties that you own? You're getting people to dream, okay? You're getting them to use their imagination and see how you as a leader can provide those opportunities. And you're also seeing, are they capable of having dreams and having a vision this big. And then you ask them, they get to pick the next 2 boxes. They're always going to pick family. Okay. Family always goes here. And then usually this box is where they put community or church. Okay. They get to pick 99% of the time. That's what they pick. So family, how many vacations are you taking? What does your family look like? How much time are you spending with your kid? What's your kid doing? Do you have more kids? Like, what does the family box look like? And then again, they choose the other priority, and it's typically a community-driven thing. Church, community service, so on and so forth. Why are we doing the motivational interview? What's the word in motivational? Motivate. How do I motivate this person? Yes, they're here to work for me from 9 to 5, but I'm here to figure out how I can contribute to their boxes, if you will. This is one of my favorite exercises. This whole process is fun for me. And then guess what you do at the end? You circle the common words, because they're speaking to you, right? And you're writing the highs, the lows, the learns, and you're writing down in 5 years what goes in the box. And I'm circling the key themes. Okay. Any questions on motivational interview? No. So usually at this point, you're in love with your candidate because that's why you choose to go on. Then you do the group interview. Okay. Why do you do a group interview? I'm really good. I hire the right people. I pick them. I do the thing. Why do I need other people? Yes. They're not in love with your candidate. Yep. So the group interview, Veronica, you participated in a group interview. What was that like?
It was extremely interesting because we all had really great questions to ask her. And she was super responsive and she had great answers.
So you did the group interview with Becky. Becky is at our front desk. I had some of my staff that was available. I had Natalie at Lawyer's Title. I had an affiliate with me, and then I had an agent. So it's not necessarily the people that they're going to work with. It's people from different aspects that are going to influence how they do their job and people that they're going to work with. So what did I ask you in a group interview? I told you guys to ask a question, and then usually it's like career specific, and then ask them a fun question. Any other things you want to point out about the group interview?
You also said, I want to be part of this before I fall in love with her and hire her.
Yeah, because I know that I want to hire them. I'm already falling in love with them, but I need someone to come in without the rose-colored glasses on. Okay. So the group interview lasts about 30 minutes. Ideally, my group interview is over a meal. Why do you think it's over a meal? And more relaxed? More conversational? How are they treating the wait staff? Are they on time? How are they dressed? What's their etiquette? A lot of it is over a meal. That's what I prefer, but time doesn't always dictate, and COVID as well, right? Then, while the group interview is usually occurring, here's the one key thing that you're not supposed to do in a group interview. You're not supposed to be there. I am a control freak. I'm there anyway. I just am quiet. And I also help facilitate moving the questions around the table, but you're not supposed to be in the group interview. Why? You could be biased. You could be protecting. What if Veronica hurls a question out and I'm like, oh, what she meant was, and then you soften the question for them. You're not supposed to be there. I don't listen to that advice personally. I want to be there, but I'm really good. I can just be quiet and listen. But can you do that?
Do you shoot darts at the big glass of water?
Nope. I try not to. I try to just be a fly on the wall.
Lindsay, will you ever interview me?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But that's part of this process, is learning how it goes so I can present myself in the best light. I know what they're going to ask, know what everyone else has said, and I have the best answer. Sounds a little psychotic, but
for my group interview. I had no idea I was going to a group interview. I thought that I was going to meet maybe just like 1 or 2 agents. I walked into the room and there were 12 of our top producing agents sitting around a table. And I just went,
Just to speak to what Sarah says, you need to be very clear as to what is going on in the interview process. When I interview someone, I'm like, look, I work with this company called Keller Williams. I'm here to get in business with you for life. I don't want to hire you for a job. I want to be in business with you for a long time. And I explain, this is going to be like a process you've never, ever experienced. You're going to laugh, but you're probably going to think that I'm going to ask you for your blood type and a hair sample. And I'm always communicating where we are in the process. So your person that was interviewing should have prefaced you, hey, tomorrow's our group interview. It's going to be at 2:00. There's going to be about 6 people in the room and various different things. You want to give them enough information so that they know what's going on, but not enough information that they can have too much prep time. See what I mean?
see, Bill didn't do that. Bill gave me no information.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm interviewing again. I
Yeah.
was like 6 interviews. I was like, oh my God, like, this is it. This is the last time I'm gonna meet with the guy. If he doesn't offer me the job at this point, done.
So you're always communicating where we are in the process, and they know from the beginning that this is intense. And we're going to meet about 4 to 8 times, depending on when their availability is, when my availability is, and how much time I have to hire this person. I'm always keeping them aware of where we are in the process. Okay, then references occur. Do not skip references. This one's super important. It's very time consuming. I have talked to a lot of people. It's a lot of tag back and forth. Call me back, text message. This is my least favorite part. It's the references. So there's a sheet in the career visioning process that you give them. It says, please list 3 personal references, 3 business references. Give me their name. When did you work with them? And I need their phone number and their email. And they sign it, giving you permission to call them. Now, there's a script. Shocking. When you call the person, ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Sarah, this is Lindsay with Keller Williams. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Hey, I got your information from Becky. She's interviewing for a position here at our office, and she gave your name as a reference. Do you have like 10 minutes to talk to me about Becky?
Sure.
Okay, great. So I'm going to describe the position that Becky's going to be in. And then one of the questions I'm going to ask is, so in working with Becky, what is something as her coach that I need to be aware of if I'm trying to coach her? So from working with her in the past, what is something that maybe I need to coach her on?
She's very quiet, but she's always observing and soaking things in.
And then you're going to ask all the other questions. And then at the end, I say, thanks, Sarah. Is there anyone else that can provide the same perspective that you did? Maybe someone that Becky worked with. Do you know anyone?
Yeah, I can send you.
They're going to give you 3 more names. And I'm going to call that next person. And then I'm going to ask them, who's someone else that I can talk to about? And then I'm going to call them. So I'm not just calling the people that Becky gave me because she's coached them. Lindsay's going to call you. This is what I need you to say. I'm going 3 deep. I want to know who this person is. And it's not always the person that they gave me the info to call. Why am I doing that? I am, yeah. I want to hire the right person. Not
further you get
just-
away from the top, you might get
Yeah.
information about her that she wasn't original. I mean, it's not that you're looking for bad. It's
No.
just that things come out.
When I want to know, are they all saying the same thing? Are they all saying the same thing? Yeah. And so you go,
Write down the names of people who are gonna say how great you are.
Yeah. I go 3 deep. You go 3 deep. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when it's done, I have anywhere from 8 to 12 reference check worksheets for this person.
Did you tell, in this case, Becky, did you tell her you're going 3D?
Nope. I just asked for the 3. I didn't ask Becky, I asked Martha, whom Becky worked with. Martha gave me so-and-so's information, right? Okay, that takes a while, the reference check. It takes about a week. It's really hard. And like, you want to hire that person and you just have to wait for everyone to get back with you. Then you do your defense. I take my giant packet of reasons I love Becky into a board meeting with an agent who maybe participated in the group interview, and the rest of my team, especially my team leader, my OP. What do you think that I do? I present. They're going to ask me, Lindsay, why is Becky a great candidate? What are some red flags that you think, where is her opportunity for failure? You know what they are. And you say them. There's this thing that I'm not quite sure of. This was the mismatch on the KPA. And it again came up in the motivational interview. Then it again came up in her references. Martha said this. That kind of validated it. Then you take your missing persons report, which is what you create in the very beginning when you're looking for the person, right? They need to have this, they need to look like this is the history, so on and so forth. And I present my case. You're like an attorney. This is why this candidate is going to be great. Here's areas that I'm concerned about. And then the team decides, yes, we're going to move forward, or let's have one more interview, or when you call, I need you to ask this specific question to address this thing. Okay, so it's not just me falling in love with the candidate. It's a neutral third party who knows my tendencies as an interviewer and what we need as a market center. Does that make sense? Then the final interview, the expectations and presenting the offer. So these are your expectations. And let's say your reality is here. What lives in this space between reality and expectations? Disappointment, sadness, all of the things. The closer you can make expectations and reality, the better. That is why there is a script in the career visioning docs, and it's called expectations conversation. You print it, it's like 3 or 4 pages. Literally, it says, as the person who's going to hire Becky and the person who she's going to report to, this is how you win with me. This is how you lose with me. You win with me when you don't take up a lot of my time and you come in with the facts, veer away from emotion, and I need you to bring solutions, not just problems. So I have my own list that is a stock template because I've hired a lot of people. Here's how you win with me. Here's how you lose with me. Do not be tardy. Can't handle it. Like you're dead to me if you're tardy. Please have proper spelling and grammar. No one's a great speller, especially me. Grammarly. I need you to not gossip. If I sense that you're gossiping, you're dead to me. And I make it very clear. This is how you win with me. This is how you lose with me. This is the way I prefer to be communicated with. Don't send me long-winded emails. Don't call me. Send me a text message, please. If it's an emergency, you can come and talk to me. Schedule time. When sensitive issues arise, here's how I want you to address them. I need you to address them immediately. If you need to interrupt me in a meeting, come and get me. If you have a grievance with me, you talk about it behind closed doors, not in our staff meeting. So I'm telling them exactly how I operate. And then I ask them, because I just did mine, so they know how it works. How do I win with you? How do I lose with you? Should sensitive issues arise, I need you. Also, I forgot about this one. Level of honesty. I need you to be brutal. On a scale of 1 to 10, I need you to be a 12. Don't sugarcoat it, because I need you to say exactly what you mean. If you said I was kind of feeling, I'd be like, well, then that I was okay. If you said you crushed my soul, then I know that I was being a little too direct. So I need you to be super direct with me. How direct do you want me to be with you? Are you a 6? Are you a 10? So that way, when I go to this person to deal with a sensitive issue, I know how I need to package things. Okay. Then here's how you're going to be held accountable. We're going to have a 30, 60, 90. We're going to meet once a week for 30 minutes. And here's what that's going to look like. Any questions? I sign it. They sign it. And I give them a copy so that they're ever like, well, why isn't she nice to me? You were late. You tell them, of course, but you don't let them wonder. And then once they have agreed that, yeah, I can work with her. She's a little much sometimes, but as long as I follow these parameters, do these things, yeah, we want to be in business together. Then you present the offer. My offer has a 36-hour deadline. You take it home. And I also congratulate them. Becky, you beat out 60 candidates. Did you know that? You should be really proud of yourself. I know the things that you're looking for within your career. And when I circled opportunity, growth, leadership, all of these things are up on the wall, by the way, when you're presenting the offer, because it creates a sense, right? I want to be in business with you. I know that these things, I can provide these things within my organization. And I know what you bring to the table is equally important. You want to be in business together? And then they sign it. That is a career visioning process in a nutshell. Now, when they start 30, 60, 90, there's a whole weird psychotic list of things there too that you need to do in order to assure that you're going to stay in business with them. Because what if you bring on the right person and then you put them in an environment where they're going to fail no matter how good they are? So 30, 60, 90 shows you how to manage them for 30, 60, 90 days. And then the motivational course shows you how to continually be a good boss and to provide the same depth and care about their career when they work for you. Because if I go through this process and they're in love with the process and they're in love with the company and in love with the organization, if that love doesn't continue, the longer they're with the organization, what do you think happens? You failed. And you've hired maybe not the wrong person, but you weren't good enough to manage them. So 30, 60, 90 and motivation is essential as well.
I'll add really quick, you can tell, there's a huge difference between when Lindsay rushes through this process and when she takes her.
I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, there's one last, time that it was rushed and.
Because I was hurting, I was in pain, I needed someone.
Yeah, and you feel it, you literally feel it, but when you take your time, like she really took her time with Becky.
I skipped this process with the person you're talking about.
Yeah.
I skipped this process. I know who they are. I don't need to check references. I would have checked the references. The pain points would have come up.
Well, yeah, and we didn't check references because
I was in pain.
the person had been referred to us. And so we're like, oh, we don't have to. And then the person that referred was like, oh, no, I didn't mean for that position. And we were like, oh.
And I'm like, I've already presented the offer. They start tomorrow. I should have checked my references.
Yeah.
This isn't a suggestion. It's the model for a reason. It's very important what you're offering someone. You're taking their career in your hands. That's their livelihood. I'm very protective of this organization and I'm very cognizant of the people that I bring into it. I have a responsibility. These are the things that I promised them and I'm going to do it. And sometimes I've failed. Wasn't necessarily the person, it was me. I didn't have the right position available. I didn't provide the right path. I slacked on my one-on-ones. Every week for 30 minutes, I meet with my people every week. Whether you're doing great or whether you're terrible, you always meet with them to keep things in line.
How long does it take?
Does this?
Yeah, because you gotta.
Again, it's usually 8 to 10 hours FaceTime with the person, whether that's on the phone, validating the KPA.
But you don't do things like one day you do it the next day, or not necessarily the very next day. People have lives and you're trying to balance
Sometimes
all that out.
if they're working concurrently, it's hard. It's really hard concurrently because I have to do all of this after hours and I do it in 2-hour blocks.
This process, it took me about 8 weeks to go through this with Bill. And because it was once a week. And we were meeting for about an hour and a half each time.
So then comes the tension of life and they taking up a job somewhere else, just because.
They fall in love with you and they know part of the long drawn out process is they believe in, they're like, I've never done anything like that. But I see what you put into this process and I know that's what you're going to put into me when you're hired, when I'm hired for the position. They fall in love with me. Rarely ever, and I'm not being like a braggadocio, do they choose to work somewhere else? Because they're falling in love with me too and with the organization. And even though I can't pay as much as the other person, it's always my choice. Sometimes I'm not available to go through the process as quickly, but there's one time, and it wasn't even my hire, it was a business partner that we didn't get who we wanted. one time. They went and picked a different organization and they were free again in 90 days. And I found my perfect person and they missed out.
So you use this obviously to hire leadership here, but even as agents hiring like, all right, so my goal is 20 transactions this year, which could put me on par to hire a full-time admin next year. So like this process will work for hiring our admin. Or
You looking for someone to date?
that was a little too pointed for me right now. Thank you. Okay, yeah.
Regardless of the position, this is the process. If I'm hiring a custodian or I'm hiring my CFO, I follow the same process because each position is just as important to me.
My point was just like agents realize like we run the same business the market center does.
It's the same process. Your cost is much higher. $85,000 of my money means nothing. $85,000 of your money, does that make you listen? Yeah. Veronica?
I tell them we're gonna do the 30, 60, 90, of course, I don't know what that is. But I say, I put it back on them a little bit, like, you know what? I may not be a good fit for you. That way, if I do want to let them go, they'll like, it's a win-win, like it may not be, may not be a good fit for each other. But I had a chat with Monica Reynolds, because I've taken that course multiple times.
Monica Reynolds has a course, how to hire the perfect real estate assistant, by the way. It's Keller Ram's course.
Hire and fire 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. I'm like,
Mhm.
hire and fire.
Yep.
every 2 weeks. She's like, no, hire and fire every 2 weeks until you find the one.
When I hire someone, they know that they're on a 90-day probation period. Yes, this is the offer, but you need to prove yourself to me at all times, especially on the 30, 60, 90, and that's part of the 30, 60, 90 course.
Isn't that Gary Coleman saying slow to hire, quick to hire?
Absolutely.
And then the cash talk is good every week.
Yeah, cash talk, that's your 30, 60, 90. So K is knowledge. What knowledge are you requiring? What knowledge do you need to be successful? A is attitude. Your attitude sucks. Your attitude's wonderful. S is skills. What skills are you learning from someone that's a high achiever in the role? What do you need to develop? And H is habits. What habits do you need to get on track with? What habits are you neglecting? That's the part of the 30, 60, 90. Okay, questions, and then I need 3 ahas, and then I will let you go. 3 ahas. Tell me what you learned. I'm gonna move closer to you so the people on Zoom can hear.
I was like wondering why you were doing that. I was like, why are you
So people can hear.
Questions.
That's part of my train the presenter is so people can hear on Zoom.
Well, and you're like, wait, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we have, now that we've done this and we have like professional goals, is it, I have a timeline for kind of when I want to be doing things. Is that I should be stepping and having a one-on-one with Sarah or with you, saying like, these are my professional goals. Here's where I want to go. What's the timeline? What does the structure look like for that? How can you hold me accountable?
Sarah, you go to Sarah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so like I'm meeting.
And
with
we
Matt-
talked about that.
Yeah, I'm
So
meeting
my
with
questions are more
Maddie
general.
today. I've got a meeting with Veronica scheduled for this week, and so that's part of what I'm here to help you guys do.
What are your goals and how can we help you get there? Any ahas? I need 2 more or you can't leave.
That's my ahas that I'm like, I didn't have to interview with you as an agent.
I'm scary. I'm scary.
But that I would love to.
Kevin's gonna do one with me soon. I'll let you. Well,
When I work in my side of the field, but this is awesome. That's-
it's very
It
thorough.
really, yeah, it really uncovers all the different aspects, and gives you a way forward. So it is based on time.
Yeah.
How much time you have to military, it's too big.
Yeah. I always say, I'm not looking for someone for the job now. I'm looking for someone to grow with my organization. If this process wasn't followed for me, when I just was hired 13 years ago, answering the phones at the front desk, I never, ever would still be at this organization.
Right.
But someone went through the process and I saw the opportunities.
This process is really set in place to protect people like me. I love everybody. I meet somebody and I find something to like about everybody. I thought, oh, I can make them perfect. I can coach them, Or on the opposite side, I'll be like, nah, I don't know about that person. I don't know. And, perfect example of that is we're picking on Becky today, but Becky's really quiet. And I was like, I don't know, front desk, you got to be usually pretty bubbly. And Lindsay shared with me everything from the career visioning. And then sure enough, this like personality came out that I didn't initially get in the first 2 minutes of meeting her, and now she's like blowing us all away.
Yeah.
And so it's a really, really important process.
That's why you follow it, even when it's really painful and you really want to hire someone. One more aha, and then I'll let you go. Question.
The KPA, I mean, do I have to already be ready to have a vision for a position, or can I just take?
You can just take a KPA. Yeah, just take a KPA. Because sometimes like you don't have time to do all of this. You're just trying to survive right now. But when you're 6 months, 90 days even out, like you need to know where you're going. If I don't know where I'm going, how do I know what to do today?
Yeah, and it'll tell you whether maybe you're meant to be a solo agent on a team, you know, it kind of just helps guide you, because you're in that, you're new, Betty, you're like, I don't know. where I'm
Emily,
going.
that's great. When you say yes to someone who's not 100% talent or the wrong candidate, you're saying no to other candidates that are talent. People trust a lot when they get in this process with you. Veronica?
I was just gonna say that. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of new agents.
What I'm actually probably gonna do is just post it on the Facebook page, and it's just a link with a code, I think. You go to a website and you enter this code, you take the disc, and then the email, the results get emailed to me or Christine. I think both of us actually, and then we'll send them to you.
It's really important, new agents, not to just know your personality type, that I have like a quick guide of like the quadrants of DISC that I like study and try to know, because when I go into like listing appointments or things like that, I know I'm a high D, but I'm talking to a high I. I have to totally change the way I communicate with that person versus when I go in and sit down with another high D, I'm like, this is what we're gonna sell your house for, and we're done. We only care about the numbers. We care about the end. The other person that's a high I or even C sometimes.
They want to
know-
have tea
they
with
gotta-
you. They want to
gotta know
spend
the
time with you.
nitty-gritty
Yeah.
and, like get super far down in the weeds. So I'm like, I'm a macro person. I gotta bring really micro. So take the assessment so you know what you are, but I would say just in general.
Helping you identify your clients.
Yes, because communication protocols are different for each one. Motivational forces, how they like to be handled, all of that is different. So that it's a huge thing in our business, any service industry where you work with clients for an extended period of time. It's really important to know and understand those personality types.
Love that.
So the
Thank
fact
you.
that we have a free resource to do it, go take it, go learn about it.
Kevin?
So there's a full class that goes into deeper dive on
Oh, yeah.
I would like to do the deeper dive on this.
It's called the Leverage Series. And as soon as it becomes available, our region is posting our education like quarterly because things are changing. And so they're not going to do all virtual for the year. If, you know, in-person thing's going to be something. So as soon as more Leverage Series classes become available, I'll make sure that you guys know when it is. Because I love this process. I stopped working for Keller Williams to hire people for agents because I love this process. This is just your 1.5 hour scratching the surface. And this is just the career visioning process. Again, there's 30, 60, 90 and the motivational course that's just as detailed. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for doing
Thank
this.
You guys are
I
awesome.
remember at the last minute, so.
You did, yeah.
We actually planned it while she was out of town.